Welcome back to As It Turned Out, hosted by your favorite CU sophomore, Franz Maruna. This is the podcast about the messy, beautiful process of figuring it out as we go. We're not here for perfect paths. We're here for moments of doubt, the big pivots, and the quiet wins that don't make it onto our LinkedIns. We're talking about what it actually looks like to grow, adapt, and to make your own way, one unexpected move at a time. Let's get into it. Welcome to As It Turned Out. How are you doing
Thanks
today?
for having me. I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions and get to know kind of your story and your journey, if that's okay with you.
Sure. It sounds exciting.
Let's do it. So let's start with where you are now. What's your role today, and what does your day-to-day life actually look like through your job?
Oh, okay. Well, I run a small interactive media company. Or I guess these days I would just call us a software shop. When we started back in 2001, it was, if you could click it, we could build it. And we were mostly looking to do services around the Pacific Northwest and West Coast. Really building anything digital with a lot of focus on online community and that type of thing. Where I am today is I still lead that team. I guess my normal day, I delete a lot of emails. I send a few. I probably spend a fair amount of time crafting emails. I spend, yeah, right. You gotta, words are important. I spend a fair amount of time in Figma still, which is a design tool. So either I'm kind of sketching ideas on graph paper, or I'm kind of taking that to the next level in Figma of, hey, what if it looked like this? What if it did that? I am sitting in meetings that generally other smart people are driving forward, and I'm asking questions around kind of, what are your blockers? How can I help you move this forward? Are there any angles that you're not approaching? But usually I'm kind of, I'm kind of blessing pretty well thought out directions already. Does that make sense? Or did that come through? That's a day.
Yeah, that sounds like a very diverse and fun schedule.
Yeah, I bounce around between a lot of things.
So we kind of want to rewind to where you started. So when you were graduating high school and looking to your future, is this kind of where you saw yourself going, or what were you planning then?
Oh man, that's a tough question. When I graduated high school, my life was in a fair amount of turmoil. So I don't really know where I imagined myself at 49. Probably not a lot, if we're being frank. But I mean, I guess if you went a little bit before the end of high school, what I think I was going to be doing, probably not far off. I've always done a lot of stuff with computers. So I got my first computer when I was 6, and I was my dad ran a manufacturing software company, so I always heard a lot about kind of the challenges of running software companies and whatnot at the dinner table. I never really I was never as strong as an engineer as he was. I'll do math, but only if I have to. And so I was always kind of interested in the design and the creative side. So at the time, I guess high school would have been 93, 94. In the dreamiest of visions, I thought my dad would sell his manufacturing software company, and he and I would start a CGI company, make movie credits, because that was kind of the intersection between, I know enough about engineering to write code, but I want to do art. And so that was kind of my, the windy daydream was, we're going to start a movie credit company. Which definitely did not happen.
Yeah. So did you go to college after high school, or did you proceed to go down a different route?
I went to college for 1 year, and that was not for me. The web had just come out. It was 95 at that point, so the web was just starting to take off. And I kind of looked around, and I was going to a small liberal arts school that didn't have a tremendous amount of resources in the first place. And I realized, I could get paid to learn this stuff. And there's other things I want to do. And met the love of my life there, and we dropped out together and kind of traveled across the country having different adventures, and never went back.
Yeah, it's awesome. So what's like one of the weirdest jobs or gigs or side hustles you had during that period? And like looking back, what did that teach you?
Oh, I've done a lot of really weird jobs. So, I mean, I started as like, $35 an hour, I'll do whatever you need. Right. And so some of it was like, programming, some of it was designing, like, and these days, like there wasn't really like predefined roles in interactive media. It was just like, oh, that's the nerdy kid who can build you a website. So I would target ad agencies because they kind of had the relationship with bigger companies, and I would say, look, if your client is asking about this fancy new web thing, bring me in. I can wear a suit, I can wear a mock turtleneck, whatever role you need me to do, I'll do. And so I ran into a lot of weird stuff. So I think one of the weirder stories that I'm comfortable sharing. I once had a relationship with a dating platform. It was a dating platform that I'm sure you've heard the name of, a early player in the space that was very the Coca-Cola of that space, very well funded, household name. And this was in the days of Macromedia Flash, which was like a kind of a graphical way of building web experiences. And they engaged, I don't know if it was me or just me and my buddy running a small shop, but pretty early on, they hired us to build what we kind of internally called the marriage calculator. And it was like a series of questions that you would go through about you and your potential partner. And, depending on how you weighed them at the end, it was like, oh, you guys have a 83% chance of staying together forever. Right. And it was, it's kitschy and kind of fun. And, it wasn't the most complicated logic tree, but there was some branching to it and whatnot. So it was like a nice intersection of my ability to figure out weird kind of engineering stuff, but also like, it's a quiz. It's supposed to be fun. So we did that. We got paid. That was great. And then they came back like a couple months later. Hey, we've got more work. We're like, great. I love eating. And they like just kind of loosely described this project for the longest time. Oh, it's another calculator. Oh, it's different questions, blah, blah, blah. And like finally got out of email and on the phone. And as they walked me through what they were thinking, it became clear they were now building the divorce calculator. And it was like, right, like, yeah, you answer these questions like, you should break up, dude. Like, this isn't going to work out. And like, much like the marriage calculator, as you might imagine, like the finger was on the scale for you probably want to get together with this person. And the math for the divorce calculator, the finger was definitely on the scale of, you might want to shop around. Right? And I was like, this sucks, dude. Like, this is a terrible thing to spend our time on. Like, relationships are about give and take and like investing in the other person. If the first time something goes wrong, you go to a website and you fill out a quiz, it's like, yeah, dumper. Like, I don't want to be part of that. And I think it just misses the point of what a relationship is about. And yeah, I mean, you asked like, what did I learn from that? Like, I learned that it's not really about people. Like, people will do whatever they have to in the system that you put them in to move forward. So like people I was working for are nice people. Like they were sane. Like the company was, straight up like semi-religious and like, definitely not sketchy people like in any kind of like, I don't know, like off the cuff kind of way. Like these aren't bad people, I guess, right? Like they paid on time, like they were enjoyable to work for. But, they had kind of reached the point where they're like, well, look, we sell subscriptions and people come and they pay us $20 a month, whatever insane amount it was to have an account here on this dating site. And then they find somebody and they take our marriage calculator that Franz built. Thank you so much. And they get married and then we lose a customer. Like there's no more recurring revenue. And so there's just no way that company is going to exist in a capitalist society where growth is the only measure of success like, right? Like somebody somewhere was like, well, what else can we sell these people? And the answer was, well, my parents got divorced. Let's sell them that. And I was just like, this is the worst. But definitely kind of like, I mean, I'm sure in the moment I just left a little bit more jaded, but I think looking back on it, I've come to realize like, I'm fond of saying like there's somebody out there for every idea, and you should be really thoughtful about the systems that you set up, because people will figure out a way to hit their numbers, whether it's legal, illegal, moral, not moral, part of your culture, like all that's well and dandy, but you better be rewarding people for the results that you want.
That makes sense. Have there been like a lot of those moments throughout, especially your early career, when you were figuring out who you were in your like workplace?
Yeah, constantly. Because I mean, people are like, people are chasing success, and they often don't even know what success looks like. So, we used to do a lot of work for startups, like angel investors that wanted to make, this was before Facebook. So we used to joke, it was like MySpace for moms. Like, we're going to make a website for soccer moms. We're going to make a website for independent musicians. Like, people wanted to kind of own these niches, and they would start something, we would build it, and we get this great first prototype, oh, this is awesome. It, just really realizes my vision. Cool. And they go out, raise more money. And then you fast forward a year and like now you're kind of like, it's harder to grow that audience. Like, and they would just start coming to you with the weirdest feature requests. Just like, why are we doing this? It's like, well, because some investor told me that I should, or some competitor is doing something similar. And so we've kind of, now we're just chasing these little strings, because they're panicked. They're not exactly sure where they want to be. And so when you're faced with these different decisions of, look, we can do this, we can do that, but we can't do both, they would, it's just, that's where the real leadership comes, and that it tends to be rare.
Yeah, so kind of along with that, is there one belief you used to have about success that changed over time, or did your general views on success change as you like grew in your business?
Yeah, my views have definitely changed over time. I mean, I think around kind of what people want and how life works, they have both changed pretty dramatically. When I was young and probably well into my 20s, and this may just be the side effect of being Gen X and coming off from a pretty safe and decent background, like I generally thought people were like wanted the same thing. Like, that's how I had been raised, was that like, hey, we all want some creature comforts. We all want, a Christmas break and a nice summer vacation. We want our kids to do better than we did. And, if you don't get in other people's way, and particularly if you show them a way that they could help get those, very shared interests, we're all kind of doing the same thing. Like, sure, there's serial killers, they're out there, but they are the exception, not the norm. Most of us are, pretty predictable creatures. I guess a very kind of very economist view of the world. And that worldview was pretty nice for a long time. There was a big shift that happened. A couple of big shifts in my career, but one of them was when we gave away our tool set as an open source product. So this was right after the Great Recession, and we had lost a bunch of our clients. That model of helping angel investors build startups was definitely not working. And we really just kind of like, I don't know, like, we've built all these cool tools for making websites, I guess. Don't know how to sell them anymore. Better give them away and see what happens. And we stuck them on SourceForge, and they became projects of the month. And it really took off. And all these people started using Concrete to build websites. And we would just get every day, you'd wake up and people were like, I'm using it for this, I'm using it for that. And it was super exciting. But man, like, you just get this like rainbow of perspectives, and people just, as I said, I think a little bit ago, there's somebody out there for every idea. Like, it is bizarre how creative people get in, like, it's like you're sitting here selling a screwdriver and you come check out somebody in the shop and they're using the handle to knock on things. You're like, what are you doing with that? That is backwards, dude. And like, not to them, it isn't. Like, to them, it's the perfect hammer. And you're just like, okay, I guess your money is just as green as everybody else's, like whatever. So I have come to believe that no, like humanity is our biggest advantage is we're kind of like the ultimate testing environment. Like there is somebody who will love your idea, whatever your idea is. You know, will they be aligned with what you think it should do? Will they pay what you want to sell it for? Like those are mysteries. But humanity is just all over the board. And you can look at that as kind of like scary, and certainly current events can lead you to kind of question stuff. But you can also look at that as a tremendous asset, that there is somebody who is willing to explore any idea that you can possibly imagine and really commit to that as their unifying world perspective. And hopefully in the marketplace of ideas, that it all works out.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There's somebody out there for every idea.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, and I think that it connects with success, and that because you asked about how's my view of success changed, and I think similarly, I used to think that you need a really big idea. Like there's these genius people with these smart ideas, and you get a really good idea, and that's the secret to success. And probably hand in hand with realizing that no, dude, there's just so many people out there that there's so many ideas out there, and some of them are good, but if it's a good idea, a lot of people are probably having it. And it's really as much, if not more so, about execution and opportunity and grit and just repetition than it really is about being first to some special idea. Because like I said, there's somebody already out there thinking about it. They just got it kind of wrong. It's up to you to get it right. That just takes a lot of practice.
Yeah, kind of tying along onto that to wrap this up. Looking back at all the twists, pivots, and surprises you've been talking about, was there something that you've learned about how things actually turned out? Like, what would you tell your younger self? What is something that you would want to pass on to the next generation?
What would I tell my younger self? To get here faster, I guess probably 3 things. Some of them are practical, some of them are just don't. The first thing I would tell my younger self is read a book, dude. Dropped out of college, and I think when you're young, kind of by survival, you have to have an attitude of I can do this, because you haven't done anything, and so you don't really have you can't allow room for doubt, right? So I went into a lot of rooms with a lot of experienced, powerful, smart people and told them exactly what I thought, whether they were interested in hearing about it or not. And I have definitely screwed up some opportunities that way with those people, and also just with just listen, and learn a little. And so, when I started really reading in my 30s again, I was amazed that $20, dude, you can buy a power up. It's like you're in a video game, and all of a sudden how marketing works, or you understand complicated sales commission structures, whatever. All this stuff is very findable. You don't even have to pay $20. Go to your library, read a book. Not that hard. Then come and tell me what you know. That's I wish I had spent more time early on doing that. Meet more people, I think, is the other thing. Is just leave your hole, go connect with people. Opportunities come all the time, but you do need to be available to them. And it's very difficult to be available if you are sitting on a couch scrolling on some social media site. You have to trade. We are social creatures. We are the only animal that trades stuff. So go trade ideas, and good things will happen. And then I guess the last thing is that good things will happen, and you'll see this advice all over the board, but life will provide. If you know what you're interested in and where you want to get, I always knew I would be leading some group of people. I was always, a leader in my friend group, and I always knew it would have something to do with computers because I've just been able to make computers work well. And, here I am. What I do today is not, our biggest client is the Army. I am not, a younger me would not have thought that, put it that way. So life has an amazing ability to kind of serve you up exactly what you need right at the exact moment that you need it. If you have the faith and you keep making yourself present, and it's not just about luck, it's about putting in the work so you are available for when luck is going to strike. And if you have faith in yourself, but not so much that you don't read a book from time to time, and you know where you want to be, life will help you get there.
Thank you so much, Franz. This has been great.
Thank you, Panonica. This was fun.